night ever performing as a whole band.
Is this your first band podcast?
As a band, yeah.
Yeah, nice, nice. So
Fantastic.
we were with your dad. That was our first podcast.
Awesome.
So we have a lot.
I heard about it.
firsts in common. Yeah. How that?
It's a good time.
I didn't listen to it, but I heard about it, Facebook and everything.
I just put you on the spot, so.
So I wanted
just
to
kidding.
kind of kick things off with. We talked with your dad about this, So what was it? 2 springs ago at
Yes,
M3.
we did.
So we're at first M3 coming out of COVID. We're down in the pavilion.
Right.
We see a couple guys, young guys,
too.
rocking out.
Yeah.
And we turn to each other and go, "Look at this, man! Look at these kids rocking out, just totally in to the music that we grew up with."
I think it was Phil
And-
Riley's L.A. Guns.
Yeah.
I think that was who was playing at
Yep.
the time.
And then like 5-6 days later, we're at Tally Ho, and we're like, "Look, there's those 2
Oh, for
kids
Faster
again
Pussycat,
for
or-
Faster Pussycat."
Yeah, I don't think you came to the Faster Pussycat when it was just me and
Yeah.
my dad at that one, but I was rocking out at that.
Oh yeah, and then we saw you with your dad. And we're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Wow. So talk a little bit about obviously growing up with your dad. Did his solo thing. Has been obviously playing with Bret Michaels. He talked a little bit about when you decided you wanted to get into music. He wanted you to kind of figure out what you liked. And so talk a little bit about and guys chime in. What music is influencing you and how that's driving you guys as musicians.
Yeah, so the music that influences us the most is the 80s hard rock, the hair metal stuff. Favorite songs, it's a modern song, but it has, pieces of old hair metal in it. We wanted it to be like not just in your face hair metal, but, still like feel like a modern rock song with there's a tad bit of country in it, and when I started this, I started wanting to sing about 3 years ago. I don't know if you guys were at the EVICK gig 3 years ago. It was at a club called Eclipse. That moment, I didn't really know how to sing whatsoever. And my dad brought me up to sing a Skid Row song. I didn't know how to sing it. It was god-awful. And I forgot the words. I forgot the words to the Skid Row song.
Yeah.
And what happened was there's that part, in Youth Gone Wild, where they say Park Avenue leads to Skid Row. And right after, I didn't know the words to that verse. And then, so I wasn't singing it either way. And then the band cut out. And then the crowd screamed, Skid Row. And I thought that was just me not knowing the fucking words. But am I allowed to curse on this?
Absolutely.
I was about to say.
Have at it.
Yeah, so I think it was just the instant shot of adrenaline of the whole crowd screaming at you that just made me want to start doing it. And growing up with my dad, everybody thinks that, it's always been music with me and my dad. I've always wanted to be in the entertainment industry. A lot of that was the movie industry. That's how I started. That's what I wanted to do when I was younger. I would go to all the camps, all the nerdy shit, everything to do, all the movie stuff. But that moment right there is what made me want to do music.
Excellent.
So,
Yeah.
you guys got anything?
For me, it was like me and Gavin met in junior year of high school, and prior to knowing him, I had been in love with Van Halen. When I was 7 years old, I used to steal my dad's iPod, first generation, and just listen to 5150 on repeat, just trying to figure out what my ears were hearing, and I just loved it, and that's what made me initially fall in love with music, and then especially that type of music, and just guitar as a whole. And then when I met Gavin in high school and found out that he liked all the bands that I did, like Poison and Van Halen and Journey, all the ones I grew up with, we were like, we got to do something with this because we both love it so much. So.
You guys are bringing up the older era. How about anything that would say is it what we would call a newer band? I hate to use that term. But,
It's not a whole lot, compared to the other stuff. There's, Dirty Honey. If you guys know Dirty, you're wearing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Look at that. That's God right there. I really like Dirty Honey. I like a lot of Wolfie's stuff, Wolfie Van Halen. A lot of that. There's Hailstorm, which that's not super new. They're 20 fucking years old.
Yeah.
So I like some of the newer stuff, but it's really just not a whole lot of stuff captures the old soul, the old feel of the hair metal stuff.
Sure.
And I hate saying hair metal, but it's just nothing captures the soul like it.
Yeah.
It's a mix between metal, in your face, rock and roll, and then there's also soul to it. It's perfect.
Yeah. I mean to cut you guys off. I saw you moving towards the mic like after I asked that question.
Come
but
on in.
please, like, yeah, come
so
on in.
You guys get in the music.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just moving up just to get in the frame. See, nothing but TV screen. No, I mean, you know, most of my influence really came from Poison. Honestly, my first concert ever was Poison Cinderella.
Okay.
And I was about probably six or 8 years old.
Uh-huh.
And you know, that set the tone for what I know and love as being a musician, being a drummer, my entire life. And you know, I'm a little bit different than these guys as far as the music style is because my mom.
Come in a little. There you
Yeah,
go.
so my mom, she opened me up to like Huey Lewis and the News and Steve Winwood, that kind of stuff. And my dad, he gave me the blues influence, and the rest of my family gave me the '80s hair influence. So I kind of a mix of everything. And you know, this guy, I met him, you know, I'd say about a year and a half ago, something like that. We didn't officially meet. You know, I had a TikTok page for drumming, and it actually it got a pretty substantial size to it, and we started talking about just Brett and Poison and all that stuff, and then he calls me one day and he's like, hey, we're doing this kind of a showcase type thing in Manassas, and we want you to be our drummer. So here I am, me and this guy over here driving 3.5 hours every week for our band practice, you know, 3.5 hours one way.
Sure.
You know, so I mean, here we are, and you see everything that's going on. I think we made the right decision, I'd say.
Yeah. So you guys are local.
Yes, I live in Centerville. He lives in Annandale, and they live closer to the Virginia Beach area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, you want the mic?
Come on into the mic.
Jacob.
My influences early on, because I played a lot of piano growing up. That was my main instrument. So a lot of Jackson Brown, like Billy Joel, Elton John. But I also I grew up loving Guns N' Roses. You know, those were like my favorite bands for like the longest time. And then coming out of college, I decided to start playing live music again. And you know, I didn't want to just play, you know, kind of like, you know, just the piano music. And I picked up bass and guitar, and I met Steve very early on in that, about 16 months ago, and you know, we played really well together, and he decided to bring me to this and play bass and let me try out, and so far the rest is history. I think so, yeah.
I'll throw a compliment your way because I heard you guys in sound check, you know, and doing the sound check that you did before you walked up here. It sounded fantastic, and that was just the sound check, right? Like,
Yeah, it was just a sound check, and I promise the guitars will be in tune during the show.
It was a really good, you know, warm up, if for lack of better, you know, ways to call it. It just sounded good. So you know, with the first time out there, like, don't let that get to you because you're already ahead of it.
Yeah, like I was saying to you before the show, there's a little bit of nervousness, but it's not like stage fright nervous because, you know, I've, you know, performed with my dad at this venue several times, and I was a wrestler in high school, all throughout high school, and, you know, I've gotten my ass kicked in front of the whole school before, so more times I've kicked ass. I've kicked ass more times. I'm just kidding. So I don't really get a whole... Are those claps?
Yes. Yeah, right. You got an audience.
Damn it.
You got an audience. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't get a whole lot of stage fright, but, you know, for it being the first show as a band, there is a little bit of unexplained nervousness.
Yeah.
You know, so we're just going to have to see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you briefly mentioned favorite songs.
Yes.
And up on the monitor, we've got a little clip about that. I think we're going to actually maybe play a little part of that video. But you talked about it being an homage, a newer homage to 80s music.
Right.
Talk a little bit more about where that came from and how that became the first kind of song you wrote and released.
Well, you know, there's a lot of younger people that are trying to bring, you know, the 80s style back and stuff. Nobody's done the ballad. A lot of my favorite, you know, songs from the favorite songs, that's what the song's what's fucking about. But from that era are the ballads, the Every Rose, the Heavens, the Everything. So the influences for that song were obviously Every Rose, Heartbreak Station, even though it's not about heartbreak, and This Is the Curveball is actually played again by Luke Bryan. That's where a little bit of the country comes in.
Sure.
You know, so that's where the influences came from. And like I mentioned, it couldn't just be a rip-off hair metal song because that era is over. You know, it had to have, you know, feel like it's the song is about the 80s hair metal stuff. Singing our favorite songs are the 80s ballads, the 80s this, that, you know, but it had to feel modern enough to where it wasn't just a fucking ripoff.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Making it relevant to today.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's why the touch of country kind of comes in a little bit. Every Rose did that, and it was, correct me if I'm wrong, like number one on both fucking country and rock and roll, I think.
Yep.
So I wasn't alive back then. I'm guessing.
We were, and it was.
Yes.
Oh, I was gonna. I don't remember. I got it. I never watched the country chart.
Neither
like,
did I, but
this guy's like an encyclopedia of rock and roll. Like he's got the trap going on. Like, you know, if there was a factoid that's out there, he grabs it.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to dominate the conversation and take over the whole thing like that from?
I don't know. I'm just talking, making sure I'm not awkward and shit.
Let's see if we can let's see if I can dominate you now. Let me see if I can take over the conversation.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Did you guys? I missed a little bit. Has everyone met the whole band, man?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That drummer's a badass.
And they did pass the mic. The band did pass the mic, so everybody was able to speak for a little bit before Gavin.
What did Jacob say?
What did Pete say?
What did Jacob say?
We were talking about our influences and stuff.
Oh, did Jacob bring up his Jackson Brown influence?
I did bring that up. My last name is also Gazelle, so it's Jacob Gazelle.
Jacob Gazelle.
Throw that out.
And right before that, what was that thing you said about the drummer in there?
Oh, I said the drummer is the weakest link of this band.
Jesus.
I have to tell you, first of all, I'm proud of my son and Logan. I've known Logan a while, and I just met Steven and Jacob, and both of them are phenomenal musicians. And I'm not trying to take away from anybody or anything. Gavin, much like me, it's in his heart, but it's a lot of work. We're not naturals. It takes a lot of work to get good. Our DNA is just like, we're not Edward Van Halen and we're not David Coverdale. It's a lot of work. But Steven you'll see tonight, he was given a gift. Like it's incredible to watch someone young like that play like that. And you know, it's like a little bit out of place because he's a Poison fan, fanatic, and you know, but it's just all four of them have this wonderful love for what they're doing. But you know, just watch this kid because he's from this small town down below Virginia Beach, and the world needs to see him, man. That's all.
Just for the record, if anybody didn't figure out, you know, what the voice was, we were talking about the voice being Jeff Salisbury, but that was Pete EVICK. So that was Gavin's dad. I don't know if we identified you, Pete, coming in, but we wanted to make sure that if you're just joining in.
No, I just wanted to jump in for a second.
Yeah, man, I want to tell you that means the world to me just to hear that from someone of your stature. That's definitely.
Everyone's gonna see it tonight. They all just let everyone in down here. This place is filling in.
All right, hell yeah.
Pete, I told these guys, I don't know if you heard it. I really just appreciated their sound check. I thought the sound check sounded great.
It was a long day. It was a long day, but we're good. Everything's great.
Yeah.
So, assuming favorite songs is part of the set list for tonight.
Yes, sir.
What else can we expect from you guys tonight?
Well, you know, I was trying to keep it a surprise, but you know, somebody posted the set list on their fucking Facebook.
Yeah. We got a leak in here.
Dad.
Worse than the government, huh?
Yeah. So, I mean, just a lot of the, you know, just fuck it, I'll say it. Some people that are listening probably aren't here right now. We're starting off with Look What the Cat Dragged In, then For Whom the Bell Tolls, then Come On Feel the Noise, then a special version of favorite songs. It's not going to be like the recorded version. We're starting off with this amazingly talented guy on the fucking keyboard.
Yeah.
And then we're going to end it off with Shout at the Devil and Youth Gone Wild. The song that kind of started it all for me was Youth Gone Wild, and we're going to end it with that.
Yeah. Excellent.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're on in 20 minutes.
Yep.
Shit.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Hopefully, like, a little bit of time flew by while you're here talking to us. Like, it didn't kind of drag out a little bit. All of a sudden, you're looking up and realizing it's about to go.
Yes. Yes.
Well, we're looking forward to it, and best of luck with the debut voyage with the band.
I appreciate it.
And thanks for stopping by, and we'll come down there and check you guys out.
No, looking forward to it. You guys are going to kill it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you for
we're
having us.
going to kick it
Appreciate
to
you
a
guys.
break, but this is the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show coming at you live from Salisbury Center Studios on Wild Style Radio.
Cool.
Thanks a lot, guys.